Hello campers and welcome back. In this video, I'd like to show you an example of sort of like how to start creating a cover page in InDesign. So the last video, we just kind of went through the 30,000 foot view of all things InDesign and sort of how it works with linking of images and so on. Now I'm just going to take an example such as the one you're seeing on your screen here, just a simple sort of cover with an image, and it looks like this image is a pretty drab picture there of, I guess that's a building, but we'll put something cooler in there and try to brighten this up a little bit. So not only will I sort of copy this, I'm making my own as well. All right, so now if you remember from the last lecture, if you were going to continue on with the portfolio that we created already, that we did in that first one, let me go there, week 3 portfolio example. So if you remember, we were making this badass one. Look at that, Kevin Kinney is rad. So if I wanted to continue on with this, remember I would use the packaged folder I did for that portfolio, go to the InDesign file, not the markup file, and go ahead, go in there and start messing with it. Okay, but in this case, I want to just start fresh and make a new portfolio, and we're going to make this title page here. So let me go to InDesign. I'm going to go ahead and create new. I got preview checked here. Primary text frame, there we go. So I'm going to switch this to inches. I'm going to do another 8 by 10 landscape orientation. I'm going to uncheck primary text frame because that was what was in there initially. We didn't need that because I'll put my own text frames in there if I want to put any text. I'll leave my margins at 0.25, and that's good. And I'll hit create. Okay, so here's my 8 by 10. Now looking at this, I think it actually looks more like a 7 by 10. So I'm going to chop an inch off, actually, get it more of a landscape feel. So I'm going to do File, Document Setup, and I got to sneeze. There we go. And intent, I'm going to say print. Let's see. 10 by 7. My God, that was another one. Hit OK there. We took an inch off it. Oh, that's not the window. Here we are. Yeah, I took an inch off it, so that looks more like the proportion I'm going for. Okay, so let's start with this text, architecture portfolio. Okay, so I'm just going to make one text box, and I'm just going to start with architecture. So I capitalized everything in there. I'm going to go ahead and select that text, go to properties. I'm going to change my font to something I want. Go to the top. So many to choose from. I'll do Franklin Gothic Heavy. I want to stretch out that text a little bit, change the tracking here. I'll do 500. And I'll change the font size to like 30. That's too big. I'll do 20. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to just do a Control-Alt-C to shrink that frame all around that text. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to copy this. I'm going to hold down Alt. Just drag it over. I'll make this text box bigger. And I will go in here and select that text and then type in portfolio. And I want to make this font bigger. That's too big. Let's do 30. Control-Alt-C. going to line that where I want it. So I'm going to go look at what I'm starting with again. So yeah, that looks pretty good. Now I want to rotate these two. There we go. Now if I select both of these and I'm sort of moving them around, let me undo that rotate. Let me show you something here. If I go to rotate, right, so that's, I select them, grab that little rotation in the upper corner there. See that little symbol that appears? Hold down my left mouse button and hold down shift. It'll snap to the 45, snap to the 90. Now with both of these selected, it'll position, if I move it around and slide it down, see that little line that comes up? That's saying, hey, that selection you have is exactly in the middle. Is that where you want to put it? Yeah, you bet I do. I'm going to put it right there. All right, I'm going to click W to sort of get a preview. It's looking pretty cool. All right, hit W again. Let's change the color of this text to something other than black. In the example, it's gray. Let's do, selected all of the text in there. So I double clicked and then I did Control A is one way to do it. I'm gonna go over to my color options here. I want the fill color, not the outline color. I want fill. Oh, let's do like a steely blue. Let's see what we can get here. A little grayer. Yeah, something like this. Ooh, I like that. That looks cool. Architecture portfolio. Let me try something here. I'm going to select this. Try a. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to make this one a little more blue. Oh, okay, cool. All right, I'm already making it my own, right? So that looks pretty cool. Maybe I want to fade this out a little bit, right? So this looks pretty dark. If I select that, here's something I didn't show you in the last video. I'm going to go over to Effects right over here. There's an opacity button. I could sort of turn this down, maybe 85. Maybe 75. Cool. It's a little lighter. I'm going to do something crazy and do 50. There. That's kind of where I want it. That looks good. Okay. If effects isn't over here, you can go Window, Effects. So if it's not over there, Window, Effects. Okay, there it is. Good way to change opacity, just like in Photoshop if you've ever played with that. All right, I've got two elements in here. Let's look at our little... Okay, so let's get this circle image in there. All right, so here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a circle. I'm going to make a circle, put an image in it. I'm going to have no stroke around that circle. And then I'm just going to draw a circle with no fill for this white part right here. All right, so let's do that. So let's start by drawing the circle first. I'm going to go to the shape tool here and just go to ellipse. Start in the upper left. And I'm just going to start drawing a shape, but if you hold down shift, you'll get a perfect circle. I think that looks like a pretty good size right there. I don't really care what it is. I'm just going to make it that. Okay. So this circle has an outline. I don't want it to have an outline. What you can, and you can see it has no fill. What I can do is hit this little swap arrow here and they'll switch. Now, instead of a fill, I'm going to fill that with an image. So I'm going to select the shape and do Control D. And I will, I'll do this guy, this first one right here. I'm just picking a random image just to show you how to do this and hit open. Okay, the image is in there, but it's not, it's way too big, right? If I click on that little circle there, I can see how big that image is in here. That's way too big. So I'm gonna click on the circle, I'm going to right click, go to fitting, and I'm going to say fill frame proportionally. Okay, so now it'll shrink it down. If I grab that circle again, I can see, oh yeah, it shrunk it down. And because I've grabbed that circle in the middle, I can sort of move it around in there. And, maybe I want to see a little more of this, fine tune it. Maybe something like, I want to get that full window in there. That looks cool. Okay. So there we go. Maybe that's not the right image for that. We can switch it out later, but that looks good for now. Okay, let me zoom in on that. You might notice that it still looks a little grainy. Okay, that's because it's sort of just giving us a approximation of that image. It's not really showing us its full resolution. So if you go up to View, Overprint Preview, that should crisp up real nice, which it did. Now you can leave it on Overprint Preview, but once your portfolio gets really long, it starts bogging down a little bit. So I'll leave it on for now, and if it slows down, we can mess with that later. Okay, that looks good. Now I want to get that white circle in here, as you can see right there. So for that, I'm just going to draw a circle over here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and move this circle. Try to sort of snap to the center of this circle, sort of give me the guides will naturally appear. Looks a little small, so I'm going to make this bigger by holding down Shift and Control. And I'm going to recenter it. And maybe a little bigger. There we go. And now I'll go up to properties. Maybe I'll play with the stroke a little bit. Maybe I'll make it like 2. And I'm going to go ahead over here and make that outline white. So I'm going to double click on that and just find white. I think I'm going to make that a little bigger yet, maybe 3. And a little bigger this way. There, that looks cool. All right, so that's looking pretty good. Okay, so let's go to here. All right, so we have to position this. If this is centered, it looks like it's a little lower than center, and then there's this sort of line that goes out from it. All right, let's try something. I'm going to grab these 2 things. First, I'm going to position it in the middle, and then I think I'll line it up with the P here. Somewhere near there. That looks good. All right. Zoom out a little bit, Control minus. All right, I'm going to get a line in there. I'm just going to go to my line tool. I'm going to start it, hold down Shift, and it'll lock to horizontal. Let's make that real thick. That's kind of cool. I'm going to change the color of that to like a gray. Oops. I always just click on these until I find the color I'm kind of looking for and pick it. Ooh, I like how that looks. I want to move it up a little bit. So that feels better. Maybe a little darker. Yeah, it's a little darker. Welcome to the world of portfolio making. That looks pretty cool. All right. I can always change that later. I want that to be centered on this circle. That's what I want. There we go. That's centered. I could actually put it like this. Now look how it's like in front of it there. I'm going to right click on this shape and say arrange, send to back. There we go. All right, I'm kind of liking that. Looks fun. It looks graphic. It looks like a good time here. I might want this to be on the center of the page. Let's see if we can do that. Maybe I want this to come all the way over to the edge. And maybe I want this to go all the way over to this edge. And then I'm going to move this over and this over. Ugh, don't like how that looks. Move this over. It's a little too far over there. All right, well, the cutting it in half is not agreeing with me, so I'm going to move it down. We'll do that. We'll do that for now. That looks more fun. So that's how it goes, right? Back and forth. All right, so we have some right aligned text here that's smaller, and selected works, the name, and some sort of other information. So I like that selected works. I like the name. I don't need that information, but I'll put academic work, Madison College, architectural technology program, something like that. That's I could start with that. So I'm just going to go to my text, make a text box, and I'll call it. What did you have it as? Academic work. Let's call it. Oops. Academic design work. Madison College. I'm making this up as I go. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to change the font size here. It's set to 12. I'll put it at 10. And I'm going to right align it. Oh, Wendell made an appearance. That's great. He's fired up. I think kids were chasing him. Okay, I'm going to just move this over to the edge, and I'll do maybe a little bigger. Hearing some screaming up there, so that's good. There we go. I don't know what font this is, but Minion Pro. I want that to be the same as my Franklin Gothic Heavy. I'll do 10. I'm going to spread those letters out a little bit again. Maybe not that much. There we go. Okay, that looks good. Academic work, Madison College, Architectural Technology Program, and selected works 2018 to 2020. I'm going to just go in here, hit enter. Let's say 2019 to 2021, something like that. This is just starting it, right? So it doesn't have to be that. Metallic? Nah, that doesn't look good. Regular. Okay, I'm going to change the font because Franklin Gothic Heavy has like only one option. Let's do Calibri? Sure. Oh boy, what could that noise be? Okay, academic design work. I'll call it bold. There we go. Selected works 2019, 2021. Top parts in bold. That looks pretty good. And then I'll just put my name in bold lower. So then I'm going to go in here. Kevin Kinney. And I'll give that a bold. So I like how that looks. I like the font. I might move this guy to the right a little bit and move this guy to the right a little bit so I can sort of match what's going on there. That's a reasonable cover right there. It's sort of simple, but kind of pretty. I might change this font in here to match the Calibri that I use there now. So that's very common to sort of, I gotta shrink it down. There we go, architecture. And let's do Calibri here. I gotta shrink this one down. Portfolio. That's kind of cool. So now they're all the same font, but I want these to be bold. I'm so sorry about that noise. That's Leo dragging something around. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I kind of like that other one font better, but I didn't like how it worked over here. So I don't want to have a sea of fonts is all the point I'm trying to make here. But I'm fairly happy with this as a starting sort of title slide. So this week, you're asked to sort of pick a portfolio from issue.com and start creating it and really get into the weeds on this cover and make something beautiful. If any of you have any questions on how to do something that I didn't show you, or you're like, how did they do this? Please hit me up with the chat and I'd be happy to help you. But hopefully you were able to sort of follow along of how I did things here. I'm going to put a bit of space there, maybe another one here. And you have sort of a way of getting started. Maybe I'll... Oh, now you got me playing here, so here I go. What was I going to do? That could be really ugly really quick. Arrange, send to back. And let's change this to... I'm just playing around here. Let's rotate this one. Oh, gosh, sorry about that. Ooh, don't like that. Okay, you get the idea. So there we go as an example of one cover. But anyway, have a good time with this one and hit me up with questions.